Good morning, everyone. I want to welcome you all to Reading 365. We have two fantastic readers this morning. One is Tom McKee. He's a veteran of both of them. Tom and Nick are veterans of the 500 Men Reading, and Nick was with the 100 Men Reading, and Tom has volunteered with us with the 100 Men Greeting. He's on the board of the YMCA in Sunbury. He started a parent group there, to address like the COVID pandemic situation. Very involved, avid reader. We want to welcome Tom to the Reading 365 this Wednesday morning. Thank you, Tom, for joining us.
I'm so glad to be here, and thanks for the opportunity. I know as a parent, we always try to read as much as we can, but sometimes at the end of the day, after work and everything else, it's nice to just turn on the American Literacy Corporation page and have someone else read. So we've been doing that a little bit at the end of the day, and just really happy to be able to participate.
Thank you. And what do you have to share with us this morning?
So the book I'm going to read today is actually one of my kids' favorite books. I have a 5-year-old girl and 3-year-old twins, and especially my 3-year-olds love this book. So I hope you can see it. It's a book called Bumble, the Bear with Big Ideas. So I'm going to try to show you most of the pictures here, and it's a nice story about a bear, but we can all relate, I think, to what happens in the book here. So. Hope you can see everything here. I'm going to try to show you the book as best I can. And I'm going to do the voices because my kids like when I do the voices too. Bumble splashed across the stream and trotted up the hill. Grandma would be waiting with cakes and cups of tea served with lots of honey. The little bear tapped on Grandma's door, but no one came. He knocked again. Where could she be? He wondered. 3 forest birds flew down. Quiet, said Crow. She's sleeping, you know. She shouldn't be sleeping, Bumble declared. Grandma Bear is waiting for me. Not true, Owl hooted. Bear set out for honey and she tripped on a root. Hit her head, cawed Hawk. I saw. My grandma fell down, gasped Bumble. He peered in the window, and sure enough, Grandma was asleep with a big lump on her head. Poor Grandma, Bumble cried. Then he had an idea. Grandma loves flowers, he said. He ran to the garden and picked the flowers there, every single one. Bumble smiled as he tiptoed past Grandma. He put flowers in vases, jars, buckets, and bowls, and set them all over the room. She will be so surprised, he whispered. Now what should I do next? The little bear wondered. He saw 4 pots of paint. I know, he exclaimed. I'll paint the door for Grandma. At first he could not choose. Should he paint with red or yellow, blue or grassy green? In the end, he used all of the colors. He painted a picture on Grandma's front door. Bumble smiled again. She will be so surprised. Bumble saw very dirty dishes in the sink. He washed them very carefully, saving Grandma's favorite cup until last. It was a cup so fine that its rim was trimmed in gold. Bumble held his breath as he washed that cup, held his breath as he rinsed. But just then the forest birds came back, squawking. What if they woke up Grandma? Bumble began to hurry. Bumble grabbed a cloth to dry. The cup slipped. It seemed to fly. Bumble reached to catch it, but he missed. Grandma's cup fell. Crash. Bumble ran. He stumbled to the door, tumbled out, and hid. Just look what that Bumble has done, fussed Owl. He stripped her garden bare, squawked Hawk. Grandma Bear will be angry, you know, said Crow. Bumble heard footsteps on the porch. He peeped through the railings. Grandma Bear was there. Bumble did it all, cawed Hawk. I saw. Bumble took a big breath and crawled out. I wanted to surprise you, he said. You did surprise me, Bumble Bear, said Grandma. But the birds are all wrong, and I like my beautiful door. And she shooed all the forest birds away. The little bear gulped. But Grandma, that's not all. I broke your favorite cup, the one with the glitter gold rim. My cup, she gasped. There's not another one like it, not anywhere else in the world. A tear slid down poor Bumble's nose. But that is true of you, dear Bumble, too. There is not another bear like you, not anywhere else in the world. You are the best little bear in the forest. Bumble smiled. Should I make us some tea? Grandma pulled him close. Let's make the tea together. And so they did. Bumble and Grandma had cakes and mugs of tea with lots of lovely honey, the way they liked it best. The end. So that was Bumble, the Bear with Big Ideas by Marmy McKee.
That's a beautiful story, and we're going to talk about it at the end of Nick's reading there. So thank you, Tom. Fantastic job. I look forward to discussing that book. Nick, are you ready? All right. So now we have Nick Linn from Linn Flux. He has a web kind of company. He does so many other things. I'm not exactly sure, but he does technical stuff with computers and web design and things of that nature. As a matter of fact, you are looking at the webmaster for the American Literacy Corporation. Nick has graciously done service for the site. I'm guessing almost 20 years, at least probably 15. Probably seemed a little longer than that, Nick, but I personally, it was a wonderful opportunity for me to, again, thank you for your service and your volunteer, your donation to the American Literacy Corporation. I have no idea what I would do without, your service. It's just invaluable. So thank you. And he's a father of 4, and his wife is an educator. So she was in charge of picking out the book for him. So let's see what she picked out. So we want to welcome Nick to Reading 365. Again, he's participated in the 100 Men, the 500 Men, and many other programs, our literacy festivals throughout the years. And thank you, Nick, for your support over the years.
Hey, thank you, Floyd. Thanks for having me. Today I was going to read a wonderful book called Abby Yo-Yo.
Fantastic.
Okay. This is it's an old folklore, an African folklore, and the text for this version is by Pete Seeger, who's a musician, and the illustrations are by Michael Hayes. So, once upon a time, there was a little boy who played the ukulele. Now, the ukulele is kind of like a small guitar. Around town, he'd go clink, clunk, clink, clunk, and the grown-ups would say, "Take that thing out of here." Not only that, the boy's father got in trouble. The boy's father was a magician. He had a magic wand, and he'd go, "Zoop, zoop," and he'd make things disappear. But the father, he played too many tricks on people. He'd come up to someone who was about to take a drink from a nice cold glass of something, and zoop, he'd make the glass disappear. Someone was doing hard work with a saw, zzz, 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 and the father would come up with his magic wand, soup, no more saw. He'd walk up to someone that was about to sit down after a long, hard day of work. Soup, no chair. Not optimal. People said to the father, "You get out of here too. Take your magic wand, your tricks, you and your son, and just get." So the boy and his father, they were ostracized. That means they made him live way out on the edge of town. Now, in this town, they used to tell stories. The old people used to tell stories about the giants that lived in the old days. They used to tell about a giant named Abiyoyo. They said he was as tall as a tree and he could eat people up. Of course, nobody believed these stories, but they told them anyway. One day, the sun rose blood red over the hill. The first people got up and looked out the window, and they saw a great big shadow in front of the sun. They could feel the whole ground shaking. Women screamed. Strong men fainted. "Run for your lives! Abiyoyo's coming!" That would be terrifying. He comes up to the sheep pasture and grabs a whole sheep. He comes to the cow pasture, grabs a whole cow. Men yelled, "Grab your most precious possessions and run, run!" Just then, the boy and his father woke up. "Hey, Paul, what's coming over the fields?" "Why, son, that's Abiyoyo." "Oh, if only I could get him to lie down, I could make him disappear." The boy says, "Come with me, Paul." And he grabbed his father by one hand. The father gets his magic wand, and the boy gets his ukulele. And they run across the fields. That's a brave boy. People yelled, "Don't go near him. He'll eat you alive." There was Abiyoyo. He had long fingernails because he never cut them. He had slobbery teeth because he didn't brush them. He had stinky feet because he didn't wash them. And matted hair because he didn't comb it. He raised up with his claws. But just then, the boy whips out his ukulele and he sings. Abiyoyo, 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 Abiyoyo. Well, the giant had never heard a song about himself before. A foolish grin came across his face, and the giant started to dance. The boy went faster and faster. Abiyoyo, 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 Abiyoyo. Faster and faster, right? Abba-yo-yo, abba-yo-yo, abba-yo-yo. Again and again, the boy played. And Abba-yo-yo danced and danced. The giant got out of breath, and he staggered, and he fell down. Up steps the father. Zoop! People looked out their windows. He's gone, he's gone. Abba-yo-yo disappeared. The people ran across the fields. They lifted the boy and his father up on their shoulders. They say, come back to town. Bring your ukulele. We don't care anymore. And they all sang, Abba-yo-yo, Abba-yo-yo. And they sang it over and over again. Let's sing it one more time. Abba-yo-yo, 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 Abba-yo-yo. The end.
Beautiful. Did you see my cameo? I joined you. That was fantastic, Nick. That was an awesome book. And Tom, you're going to join us here, and we'll talk about your book as well. But first, Nick, since we finished yours last here, so it reminds me of a less violent version of David and Goliath, right?
Let's make them disappear.
Exactly. Use music. But a fantastic book and a fantastic, African folklore there. Thank you. Awesome. And then Tom, your book, the thing that came to mind is, a deed done in love cannot fail, right? Little Bear, did something nice for grandma, and it was welcomed, right? And everybody else thought that, oh, she's going to be mad or what have you. And then the second part of it, that lesson it really hits home with me. And I constantly tell my kids, when you make a mistake, it's okay, right? It's okay. He broke her, what was that, cup or something like that? Yeah. And she was like, but you're more important than that cup, right? Did you have anything to add to that, or?
I think, yeah, I was between two books for this morning, and I picked that one because the colors were better. I just thought it would show up better on the screen. But the other one was kind of a similar thing that I think as kids and even grown-ups, we need to remember that we make mistakes. We're not perfect. It's okay.
Right.
And usually, even if you made a mistake where you've broken something or you've done something that, that something went wrong, it's probably not as big a deal as you think it is. Right. You're best off just admitting it and going to the person or people that maybe were affected by it, and probably it's probably all going to be okay. It almost always will be okay. Yes. And we worry, I know I do this. I think I worry more about things like that. And in the end, it's usually not as big a deal as you think. So I think that was the lesson of my other book too, but this one was kind of told in a different way. So I think that's a great thing for everyone, kids and grownups. We all need help with that.
Yeah, and thank you for that reminder. I appreciate that. Definitely kids and grownups. And Nick, you're a musician. Thank you for adding that. How long have you been playing?
Oh wow, since I was a kid.
Yeah. You want to tell us a little bit more about your journey there? Oh, what drew you to music?
I always enjoyed it. I used to play on keyboards as a kid. Then I remember I really wanted a bass guitar, and it took me a couple years to to smooth that over with the folks, but I finally got one, and from there just got other guitars, acoustic, electric, and always enjoyed music, and try to instill that in my kids too. It's similar to reading, in that you're able to have different experiences that after a while you can just tell, like, it's working a different part of your brain, and it's making you a more well-rounded person. When I read, I can really feel what my mind helps me understand that the person in the book is going through. As compared to like television, where the director and producer are making you feel this very particular way. In a book, a lot of the details are left up to your own mind, and it makes it a much deeper experience. And music can be that way too. When you listen to a song that you like, that's great. If you learn how to play that song, it just adds this whole other level that maybe you didn't even realize was there. Much deeper relationship with that song and with the music. So positive things all around there.
Yeah. And I can relate, having played, trumpet for a number of years. And I say music actually saved me. It was kind of like my anchor. For some it was sports, right? And for me it was, figuring out that music, learning how to play it, learning how to read, and that was kind of like my claim to fame in high school, So
I think that's great too, Floyd. I always remind when we do the 500 men reading, I think the story that I read was sort of, I guess they both are sort of lessons, but we can also read about things we just really like. We can read about music, we can read about sports.
Yes.
When we do that, I ask the kids in the classroom, hey, what do you like? And we get basketball and playing with dolls and, running around and football. And there's books about all that. So that's a great, another great thing that we can keep in mind.
It certainly is. It certainly is. So guys, thank you. It's been a real pleasure having you both here. And I hope that you will sign up again to read real soon, and invite friends. Friends don't let friends not know about reading 365.
I love the slogan.
That's good.
I just made it up.
Write it down.
On that note, everybody have a fantastic day. We'll see you tomorrow at 11 a.m. Thank you so much. Enjoy your day. Thank you.